Hey guys, I'm Sabrina, and today I will be talking about forensic anthropology. Okay, let's get started. So, you're probably wondering what forensic anthropology is, right? Well, I'm gonna tell you. So, forensic anthropology is actually a subfield of anthropology. Who would have known? It actually helps law enforcement agencies identify the unidentifiable. So, the humans that have already deteriorated and become bones when their faces are destroyed, or if they've suffered trauma. It also helps determine how long ago the victim died, all by looking at their bones. Now, how long has forensic anthropology been around for? A long time. I'm just kidding. Since about the 1940s, when criminal agencies realized that they couldn't do all the work on their own, they started outsourcing and asking anthropologists to come in and do research on these victims and their bones to help determine how they died and suffered trauma at their time of death. What is forensic anthropology used for? It is used to investigate remains and to help identify individuals from bones when there are no other physical characteristics left to identify them by. So, if you're looking at someone and all you see is their skeletal anatomy, typically you're not going to be able to identify them. Anthropologists, on the other hand, they've got you covered. So, here's the big chunk of information when it comes to forensic anthropology. What exactly are these scientists looking for in bones, and how do they get their answers? So, 4 typical things they are looking for are age, gender, height, and race. Why, you might ask? I'll let you know. So, when it comes to age, there are about 4 different categories we can look at. There's more depending on how much you want to break it down. But we'll start with infants. Yeah, sadly, infants. So, when these scientists find an infant, typically the way they are going to measure the age is going to be determining how long their long bones are. So, their long bones typically being their fibia, tibia, femur, arms, different things like that. When it comes to children a little bit older, they are looking at their teeth, so determining whether or not they have adult or their baby teeth still. 2 primary things they're looking at. When it comes to earlier adults, they're going to be looking at the fusion of their bones, whether or not their bones have been fused together and how many bones have been fused together to determine how old they are. For older adults, yes, we will be looking at the deterioration of their bones and their spines, because spines do deteriorate as you get older. When it comes to gender, there will be 2 things they are looking for. The first being the pelvic bone. Typically, experienced anthropologists can determine whether or not they were male or female just by looking at their pelvic bone. If they were female, they typically have a larger pelvic bone because they need a larger canal for birth and child things, you know. For male, not so much, so it's a lot narrower. So that's a lot easier just to look at the skeleton and identify. The second being your head and cranium. Yes, you can tell if you're a boy or a girl just by your head. Skull. Yeah. So, they will be looking at, for female, they typically have more pre-puberty features kind of thing. And for males, typically their eyebrows and jaw lines are a little bit more squared off, so that's how they determine if they were male or female. Tying that in with race, race is all looked at from this area. Yup, your head, skull, cheekbone area. So some races have longer nose. You can see that in their nose because your nose doesn't, it's a bone. Your cheekbones, jaw lines, and even the size of your cranium can determine your race. So, yeah. And then race can be tied in to height. Who would have known? So yes, some races are a little bit taller than others. When determining height, we never know an exact height. So when they're looking at an individual's height, they will be measuring, again, their long bones, their spine, and their cranium. After they've measured those, they will add them together and add a couple extra inches for joint, soft tissue, and scalp. We still don't know an exact. It is always an estimation. So, if that wasn't enough information for you, I've got a couple more things. Here are some fun facts you probably didn't know about your bones. Did you know that your bones can tell the line of work you worked in? So if you did computer stuff, construction stuff, you were a personal trainer, a soccer player, a journalism major, any of that stuff, your bones can tell. Another thing, bones can tell how good you followed your diet and how much exercise you got. So let's start following some healthy diets and get our miles in. And the last thing, you know those maggots that people talk about? Scientists actually find those beneficial. So depending on how long those maggots have been there, how old they are, they can actually tell how long the victim has been dead for, which is another way of telling their time of death. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, maybe I'll make crash courses about other stuff. I don't know. But I hope you have a great rest of your semester, and thanks for watching!